is Bold TV.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bold TV. Bold stands for Beautiful Outstanding Ladies with Disabilities Television, and it is powered by Bold Hearts Initiative. We come to you every Saturday by 10:30 a.m. with a riveting episode that talks about disability and its related issues. And of course, we shed the gender light. Every Saturday by 10:30 a.m. on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/boldtv_boldhearts, and our Facebook channel, www.facebook.com/boldheartsnetwork. We bring you these episodes. Feel free to check out our Facebook page, our YouTube channel to see past episodes, including this one. We want to thank our online audience for sticking with us since we started in 2020 and how you have continued to engage with our different episodes on the different platforms that we showcase Bold TV. Today is not an exception. We're going to be having an exciting episode, and our focus of conversation is in commemoration of Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. So, all over the world, in the month of September, we focus the conversations around spinal cord injury, raising awareness, as it were, on what it is, why it is, and persons who are with spinal cord injury. Today, my guests are women with spinal cord injury, and our topic is focused on a life well lived. Before I go ahead and hit and shed some more light on the conversation or the topic of conversation in commemoration of Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month, I would like the ladies in the house to introduce themselves. So ladies, you tell us your name, tell us where you are based, what you do, and since we are all SCI, tell us your level of injury.
My name is Egebe Choma Mori. I'm the chairperson for Spinal Cord Injured in FCT Abuja. And the level of my injury is C2, C3. Thank you.
C2, C3. Somebody wondering what is C? What are we doing with alphabets? C simply stands for cervical. All right, Choma, you are most welcome.
Okay.
Yes.
I said C2, C3.
Oh, T is even low. Oh, so that's the thoracic. So T is thoracic.
Yes.
At least it's good. All right, you're welcome.
All right, good morning, beautiful people out there. My name is Afyong Etum. I'm a medical lab scientist. I live and work in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. And I'm a member of Bold Hearts Initiative. My injury level is T12L1.
Okay, so another alphabet has been thrown in there. L stands for lumbar, for those who are wondering.
Yeah.
So you want to bring out that your integrated science, aka biology, aka anatomy book, and check the levels. All right. So by way of introduction, my name is Freki Andreasian. I'm a member of Bold Hearts Initiative. I'm your host for this episode, which is focusing on spinal cord injury awareness, and I'm the ED of Fake Foundation. And my spinal cord injury level, I think I'm the highest. It's T7, T8. It's higher. I think even T6 is involved. Not too sure. So that's what's up. All right. So remember we said C is cervical, T is thoracic, L is lumbar. So just to help somebody think about your back. So when you think about your back, think about the neck region. That's where you see cervical. Think about your chest region, and to your lower back, that's where you see thoracic, thorax. And then is from your lumbar is from your waist down. And there's even sacral, but don't worry about that one. So we'll just focus on those levels. So that gives you an idea. And so that's it. So when you get spinal cord injury, it simply refers to the fact that the spinal cord injury was injured at that level. And it can be due to different reasons. So welcome, ladies. We're going to be doing this as quickly as we can. So our focus of conversation in this Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month is a life well lived. Why are we focusing on a life well lived? Is because spinal cord injury, a lot of times, even in the disability community, is usually associated with a lot of exclusion, a bit of shame, fear of the unknown, stepping out. It's also associated with accidents by way of your body not operating in its normal physiological functions. So a life well lived speaks to resilience in the face of an injury to a person's spinal cord. And our ladies are going to be responding to some questions that will show you the power of resilience that can, in spite of spinal cord injury, result in a life well lived. So ladies, you're welcome. So the first person I'll ask is Chioma. What were the early days after your injury life? What was it like? First of all, tell us what led to the injury, because there are different causes of spinal cord injury. And then what were those early days? When I mean early days, I'm referring to the early days to early months of the injury. So tell us how it was for you after that. Just go ahead briefly, on mute.
So for me, it was accidents. I was actually a copper as at then. I was serving, and on my way back from my place of service, I was involved in a fatal accident that resulted to my spinal cord injury. So, in those early days, I found it hard to accept. I couldn't accept. I was bitter. I was living in denial. So it took me over 5 years to come to terms with the situation. And because then in Nigeria, that was 2009, I was not told what was wrong with me. They were talking in silence. They'll take my parents out. They'll tell them this, that. And then when they said I should leave the hospital, I was like, why am I leaving the hospital? I cannot walk. And even in the course of the accident, I was very conscious. So I just realized that when the car had somersaulted, they said I should come out. And immediately I realized, I started telling them, where is my leg? They started laughing at me. They said, madam, you are fine, come out. I said, where is my leg? I cannot feel it. They said, see your leg. I said, no, I don't have a leg. So for me, in my mind, in my head, I felt like my leg was cut off. So I could not feel. So from that point, and then to the hospital, I did not know what was happening. I could not understand. I had catheter on. I just wanted to leave the hospital and go back to my place of service, because I just kind of sneaked out. I was in Bauchi, so I just kind of sneaked out, and I was like, maybe 1 week I'll come back. So I wasn't understanding anything. So for me, at that early stage, it was bitter. And for someone that I had this hope that I will live my life after service. In school, I was very church thing, and I had this belief that after service, I will rock my life. So I didn't want to understand anything they were saying. So he was quite bitter. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
But what strikes me about that is the fact that even with what was happening, they didn't tell you what was happening. You were kind of left in the dark. And that whole lack of acceptance, denial, bitterness, very strong emotions, and how it took you over 5 years. We'll come to ask how you were able to finally find strength to move forward, because taking on positions like the leader in FCT, of Spinal Cord Injury Association of Nigeria, obviously talks about the fact, or speaks about someone who has honed in, has come to a place of, should I say, acceptance. So we'll come to that in a bit. Affiong, tell us about the early days of your injury, because I know that you do na NYSC, whether you follow sneak out, and I'm waiting to go find out right now.
I don't sneak go anywhere. Na Christmas I come. Yeah, I went home for the Christmas break, and then on my way back, make I rush to collect alawi, because they say if you don't come back before a certain day, nothing for you. So on my way back was when I was involved in an accident, and unlike Chioma's case, I had medical knowledge. So immediately I woke, in the immediate hours after the accident. Once I opened my eyes, I was conscious. The first thing I realized was that I couldn't feel my legs. And but I knew, immediately I came to that realization. I knew what was wrong. And, I was like, oh, okay. This has happened. But what helped me was that helped me to kind of, because I think the Samaritan emergency services, because obviously Nigeria does not have emergency medical services. So the Samaritan emergency services that came to help, the injured, when they came, I had no obvious injuries, so they were like, oh, there's nothing wrong with her, so she can wait. Let's attend to those who are bleeding and that. So, but later on, when they came to help me, I had to guide them on how to help me because I had fractured my left collarbone. I had serious pain. I could feel my back was on fire from the fracture. So I had to tell them that I needed them. At first, they were like, they just dragged me. But I told them, I need one person can hold my leg, but I need more people to support my back. And then when I got to the vehicle, they were like, that I should lean my back. They thought my leg was the problem. I told them, no, let me lie down. My legs can hang anywhere. There's nothing, my leg is not the problem. Let me lie down because I was trying to stabilize my back and prevent further injury. Thankfully, I was awake because if not, this would have, who knows how many fractures would have happened. But, we got to the hospital and all of that. Later on, I came back home. Those early days, like Choma also said, there was a lot of, not denial per se, but, I went through the different stages of grief. I did a lot of bargaining. I bargained. I say, God, if you just do this one, even if you don't do another thing, I will not ask for anything. Don't this one alone. I did a lot of bargaining. I was angry. I went through the different stages. And then finally, the depression now set in. The depression set in. I even had, I think I had, would I call it suicidal thoughts? But I don't get mind. I just wanted God to do the suiciding. He should really want to suicide me. I will not do it by myself. He should suicide me because I don't have power.
So it was not of bargaining. Father, take my life and let me be.
Oh yeah, I'm like, let me just go. Then we cry after some time. We forget. Oh, I can't pause this one now. And even the hospital, I had to insist on them. I had to insist on them. That was okay. 2000. It happened 2005, January. Imagine that was my new. That was like a New Year gift. January 2005, first week of January. And then, when the whole thing was, in the hospital, it was a mess. General strike, nationwide strike at that time. Nationwide strike. All the hospitals were shut down. I was now referred to a private place where the guy was doing all manner of experimentation. It's that's, one of the nightmares you go through. But at the end of the day, it took me a year of adjusting. By the end of the year, I was indoors all through. I spent 3 months in the hospital, came back home, started physio in the hospital, continued at home. At the end of the year, towards the end of the year, I was able to start going out. By this time, I had come to a place where I had accepted this is where we are. So I said, okay, we can't stay indoors or I will go mad. Let's see how we can start. And I started making those, taking steps outside, we adjusted. As you go, you adjust. As you go, you adjust. And finally, here we are.
Here we are. A staff of University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, a big madam in the lab for that yeah, so we'll be coming soon to how you found the strength to move on, but I want somebody to listen and don't be too hard on yourself when you find yourself in the early days of spinal cord injury, where you're walking yourself through these emotions that have been mentioned. I'm sure you've heard the whole spectrum of the grieving mechanism. So one of the things that is akin to spinal cord injury is that it is associated, and really with any disability, is associated with loss. And loss leads to grieving. So we are grieving the legs, loss of function of the legs, loss of function of some of the physiological parts of the body. So denial. Denial is a strong emotion that you may want to walk through during the early days. Another one is anger. And this anger can be directed at anybody. Anger at yourself for putting yourself in the position as it were. Trauma in her case, why did I sneak out? Oh, Father. I feel, only if I didn't need this alawi so badly. I could they flex more for house during Christmas. But really, anger at yourself. Anger, in my case, anger at the... Okay, yes, I should tell you a bit about my early days as well. I'm hosting. So, but anger, and then you have the issue of, like I feel, say, bargaining, where you're trying to say, okay, if you do this, I will do this. If you do that, if you believe in God, you'll not be begging God, God, just help me walk. I'll save me for the rest of my life. I vow to this, I vow, all sorts of things. A whole myriad of emotions. But one thing you can tell from all of the ladies who have spoken so far is that there was a place of acceptance. It's also part of the grieving stages. There had to be a place of a recognition and acceptance that, okay, this is what it is for now. And if you're a Christian listening to me, it has nothing to do with your faith. It has to do with an acceptance of the positioning of what it is at this point and what you're going to do by way of responding to this event that is life-changing. So we have had a 2009 baby, we have had a 2005 baby. All of them are small. Me, I am 2002. Maybe we should be bowing down. So I had an accident. I was on bike. Oh, it's not even better than car. It's bike. Honestly, till today, I cannot even know what hit us. I don't know whether car hit us, whether lorry jam us. I cannot tell you what really was it. But it was an accident. I remember being on the bike. I remember wanting to cross the road to go to see my aunt. And the next thing, I found myself in the middle of the road on the floor. And just like everybody else asked, I asked, where are my legs? I did not know where they were. I was thinking that the oncoming vehicle had also crushed it when it was trying to swerve and ended up in the gutter. So that was what I was thinking was happening. And then as usual now, because where I had the accident was a place where there were lots of students. I was a student in university, by the way. I was a student in university. So a young girl, early days, oh Jesus. We never even begin life with us the, experience freedom. So the accident now happened, and then as usual, the Nigerians gathered, to help. And I think that at the place of help is where I actually sustained spinal cord injury, because immediately I was lifted from the ground to the vehicle that stopped so that they could take me to a hospital. The pain that I felt in my back, I will not wish it on my enemies. It was searing, it was bad, it was yeesh. And that's when I knew that something was wrong with my back, as it were. The story was long because that happened the day after Christmas, 26th of December. Oh, what a good day to have. So we're there in the hospital. It took a while. I had the opportunity to travel out. That was the next year because I was bedridden for about 3 to 4 months. People were running up and down trying to figure out what was happening. All sorts of CT scans, moving from Calabar to Port Harcourt to Lagos, still on my back. And then finally to Israel, still on my back for surgery because I couldn't sit at all. But it took a while because I think for me, the challenge was lack of information. As a medical student, I had an idea and an inkling what was happening, but I did not know how bad the prognosis was. So that's one of the points in awareness, because all of our stories are supposed to lead to awareness. So awareness to families, family members, awareness to medical practitioners, information to the client or patients is vital. Don't leave the person in the dark. Even if you are yourself, you're walking through it, let the person also be part of the process of walking through it. Because the earlier one knows what is happening, the better the person begins to come to terms with what may be happening in her body. So making it a family secret or making it a medical secret is not helpful to anyone. So that's one major point of awareness. The other point of awareness in our early days of encounter with SCI is this: if you are a good Samaritan on an accident scene, in that zeal, every accident victim is different. So like Afyong, there was no scratch. Me, there was not one pakam scratch on my body. Okay, Afyong had broken collar. Chioma was awake. Me, I was also awake. Everybody was awake, but there was nothing. Chioma, there was nothing on her body. Me, there was no wound either. Doesn't mean that. So just, I think that one of the things we should maybe advocate for at low base level, maybe first aid for Nigerians. I don't know how to handle accident or trauma victim. That helps, because when you are helping a person on an accident site as a good Samaritan, if you are not careful, you may incite more injury. And in my case, that is kind of also what happened, because I think that what I had initially was some level of spinal shock. And then at that point of help, the thing now seared and now transected, and it now tore, and I had a burst fracture of my spine. So ladies, because the time is short and the gist is plenty, how did you find the strength to begin to move forward? 5 years after, 1 year later, what was that point? Just tell us, just hit it. What was that point that you just, got to that, like, I need to be able to, move forward? Choma, tell us about your epiphany.
Yeah, for me, I think basically, some months later, I was flown to India, and from there I began to understand what this is. But that didn't set in. But over time, over years, just like I said, it took me almost 5 years. I met some other people that had this spinal cord injury. So I think they began to talk to me. I think the first person I met was someone that had cervical. And so when she began to tell me the story, the fact that she could not use her hand, I didn't want to hear. And then later I met someone else again that is almost same level as mine. So I began to listen. I began to gradually, okay, if they can make it, if this one is already working, if this one already has a job, if this one is driving. So, that was my point of, pick up to say.
Awesome.
So when I began to listen to them, I just said to myself, well, this is life. Maybe this is what God wants. And even though I was still accepting grudgingly, I was accepting until 5 years. So that was
5 years. Then, we can hear the power of connecting with people who are experiencing. So talking about support groups, not support group, but generally peers, who are also experiencing it, and being able to draw strength from their own story. Also from Choma, you can hear the power of gradual. Because sometimes we believe that people believe that they should be superwoman about, no. You can take your time. But the most important thing is don't stay there. So she talked about the gradual process that took her time to be able to move forward. Afyon, tell us a bit about how you found strength to begin to move forward.
For me, it was more like a decision. It was more like it came from a need. I've always been someone who has always been independent, early on, right from school, had to make decisions for myself and kind of like being the firstborn. So most times you have to take responsibility. So I think that's what helped. And then when I noticed that everybody around me was falling apart, I realized you follow and be melting like everybody, don't go come out now. So I just had to I told myself, okay, after all the bargaining, and it's like God was he was off duty. I decided, okay, let's move on now. Let's see, is there any way forward from this thing? So it was after I left the hospital, and with support from a few people, my physiotherapist at that time was very pivotal in this. And, he was one of those that encouraged me to look beyond, actually start seeing a future. And so because of that, I decided, look, you can't afford to fall apart. So I made that decision at that point that, look, we're going to see how we can move past this and keep going forward, whatever comes. And today, resilience is my superpower. We keep going.
Awesome. So the power of decision. And I like how you put it, because sometimes, we wait for our family members, as it were, our support system, to come and make that decision for us. But at the end of the day, I tell people that take a cue from a horse who is taken to the riverside to drink water. If that horse does not decide that they want to put their mouth into the pond and drink the water will be there, the horse will be there, the person that took the horse will be there, but there is no water drinking. At a point in moving forward or being able to engage or reintegrate back into society and your life, as it were, a decision has to be made. And that decision cannot be made by somebody for you, but it has to be made by you. Why am I saying this? I get a lot of interaction with family members of persons who have spinal cord injury. And they say things, come and talk to her, come and talk to him. He's just there, come and talk to him. I said, yes, we will do that. I will talk to the person. But until the person wants to, make that decision with your support, that person is not going to be able to step forward and all that. So I thank you, ladies, for sharing how you were able to begin to move on. I think for me, it was a combination of things. So what happened was, after I had the injury in when I was still in Tel Aviv, when I was still in Israel, the person I was staying with was not able to sit though. So but she insisted that the pastor I was staying with insisted that for the 10 minutes or 15 how to sit, that whatever minute days. And I was like, can't my outing days end in your parlor, please? And she said, no, it will not end in the parlor. You are literally going to go out. And I was like, madam, I am still wearing diaper. I'm wearing a lot. What is happening here? But she insisted. Why? She said that you need to begin to see that you have a place in the world so that you don't need anybody to give you permission to take your place in the world. Powerful sentences and statements that I did not care for at that point, because I was like, why are they stressing me like this? Why is this woman stressing me? Well, I think she knew exactly what she was saying, because while I had seen myself in a different light before the accident, I had to learn myself after spinal cord injury. And she said one of the ways is by seeing that you need to accept yourself, so that when people question your validity of existence on this earth, you know that you don't need to take permission from them. And it helped me so much because, of course, it is a modern society. So as I stepped out, I saw enough people on wheelchair for different reasons, as I knew that there was nothing special about me, that I needed to figure it out. Of course, abroad and Nigeria are not the same thing. When I came back to Nigeria, and I found out that when it comes to information, I am on my own. So I made the decision that I needed to know what was happening and find a way out of it. So decision making was a big part of it. Goal setting was a big part of it. So remember, I told you I was a student. So I was very insistent that I was going to go back to school. And I knew that I cannot go back to school if I have not gotten some level of independence. So that goal helped me to begin to fight, as it were, like a battle for my life, getting information, soaking up information everywhere I could find. I remember writing letters to people abroad that I saw. I'll just go online. I see somebody with spinal cord injury. I will now write a letter. I don't know the person, introduce myself. The person will now, the community, the person will be so excited. The person will respond, tell me a few things. And then I started meeting one or two people physically, Aisha and things like that. And that helped. So at the end of the day, decision making and having a goal drove me to begin to want to move forward. Because I knew that if I stay stuck, it will not be good for me, it will not be good for the family, and me, independent, purpose-driven. I was like, we go run and with this thing. All right, ladies. Now, having moved forward, you've introduced yourself, you're doing quite a bit in your space, as it were, with work, with life and all that. Can you tell us, because whether we like it or not, those emotions that we felt back then, they still come back. When we still, there are days where you still feel anger, you still feel bitter, you still feel like, am I the only one in this world? People have had accidents, they walked out. Why did I have to wheel out? So what would you say is a daily practice or a routine that helps you stay resilient? Afio.
One thing that I do every day, if there's one thing that has helped me, especially, in more recent times, has been the fact that I learned how to manage my emotions. So I had to, it wasn't something because, naturally I was I was always upset. I would get emotional, and then sometimes, something wasn't going my way, I would be angry, and, and I know that affected how I interacted with my environment. So I had to learn how to manage my emotions, because negative emotions make you prone to accidents and, other things. I have quite a few scars on my body,
yes,
due to domestic. So I had to learn from those situations. And then I learned how to manage my emotions by, whenever I would feel frustrated, rather than get upset, I ask questions. If I feel frustrated about something happens. Life with disability is one level of frustration to another. You just have to learn how to overcome it. So when I feel frustrated or something is not working out, I stop and I ask questions. Why is this not working out? Is there anything we can do about it? Is there anything I can do? What is my responsibility in resolving this situation? And by the time I take that pause, in as much as I feel frustrated, I'm able to turn my mind towards finding a solution. And when you're solution oriented, you look towards, you're trying to find a way out, your mind no longer has time to linger. Your emotions are subdued. There's no room for them because your mind goes into, overdrive, we must figure this out. And then once you figure it out, that's one less thing to worry about. And then you move on. For me, one example is that for me, I have a lot of pain. I have pain. They call it phantom pain. Whoever came up with that name has definitely not been in pain before. I would love to see them. because I don't understand how something is phantom and yet you feel it in every part of your body. So one of the things that I had to learn to do was how to manage pain. And for me, that pain has become like a sensor. Whenever I have pain, the neurogenic pain, I know that something is wrong. For me, it can either be a full bladder, it can be a full bowel, it can be stress. I need to rest. Maybe I've been sitting for too long. It can be anything. So all I have to do is figure out what exactly at that point in time, what's causing this pain now. And then once I figure it out and I deal with it, more often than not, the pain goes away. So that is how I have learned to, step by step, take care of, deal with everyday occurrences because it's ongoing.
Yeah, for me, it's basically waking up, praying, and just knowing that whatever I meet that day, I just have to accept. Because the truth is, sometimes you go out, you just meet people that keep asking you so many questions. Some Christian, some faith-based. Honestly, those questions can be very annoying. It can even make you more depressed. So the truth is, mentally, I just prepare myself for the day. And I speak to myself to make everything funny, make everything laughable. So it doesn't really affect me, to be honest. Yeah, so that's what I do. You can imagine coming out and then someone is looking at you in one funny way and say, do you have faith? Come, I want to pray for you. I want to lay hands on you. I want to do, there's so many things you meet. Why are you not standing? Why are you sitting? I remember there was a day when I decided to go to school to do my master's. Honestly, that day I was like, I don't want anything that will make me sad. Immediately I got to school, someone just saw me and said, Maureen, why are you sitting down? Get up. I was so embarrassed. And she's like, get up. Why are you sitting down? What's happening? Are you joking? Like, why are you sitting on the wheelchair? Like you're playing. And she was very serious. I felt like saying, please calm down. Like, calm down. Just calm down. Like, Chichi, calm down. She's like, no, tell me now. Last I saw you. Like, I saw you last year now. Everybody, she drew attention. So it's something where I'm already used to. And I already understand that there are so many things to see. You can't get mad at everybody. Even your caregiver will even make you peace. So where do you even start from? So mentally, I kind of prepared myself for it. Thank you.
Oh, nice one. That mental preparation is key because every time you step out, you meet somebody who is at a certain level of knowledge and you have to kind of deal with the person, not in a condescending manner, not in a fearful manner, or just approach the person in a very calm way that will not also unsettle you. Good one. So for me, one of the things that I do that helps me to remain resilient is that I've finished settling it in my mind that I deserve to be here. I tell myself that if I did not die on that day during the accident, that I am deserving of my place on this earth and that nobody can question my existence because you cannot create. It's not from a place of pride, it's a place of understanding that I am still here because I have value to bring to the table. So I show up with my full force and my full power. And if you want to define me by just disability, that is your loss because there is a lot more to me. So I tell myself with words of affirmation that comes from scripture, and it helps me to be able to put up a bold front every day in the face of people's idea, in the face of people's opinion, because people have opinion, in the face of people's, even some people are outwardly agitated. I've experienced people that are actually agitated, they are upset. And I'm like, why are you angry? What are you angry for? Are you angry on my behalf? I really hate you. So I've already settled it within myself with daily affirmations through scripture, because I'm a Christian, of who I am, what I am, and that's helped me to understand the value that every day brings and that I can bring. Ladies, we are doing so well. So let's bring it away from ourselves a bit in a haste to begin to round up this episode. What role, and I'll ask one more. So, Afia, what role does family play in it? What role has family played, family and friends, what role have they played in your journey?
Okay, so for me, especially in the early days, family was an invaluable support. Yes, they were also losing it. They were, trying to make sense of it, grieving as well. But I know that there's no way I could have handled it by myself. Those early days of bowel and bladder wahala. you're trying to figure out what's happening, the minute you think, oh, I'm done with this, something pops out, so all of that, the cleanup and all of that, just having family around. And then, my siblings, for one, didn't treat me any differently. They didn't make me feel like, oh, you're like, they didn't treat me differently, That made it easy for me to like transition, Yes, I needed more help. I was more dependent. But yeah, you know how siblings can be. Sometimes they got angry that you were just asking for too much help. And me too, I would get angry that, can't you see that I need the help? But somehow that created a kind of normalcy for me because we're still fighting as siblings. And, that worked. And then for friends, yes, you were the first person, my first support system in the disability community. I remember immediately it happened. You were the first person that came to me. I was like, and you know what? I've never told you this, but I felt guilty. Why? Because I remember when you told me about I heard about your accident. I think we spoke on the phone like on 2 occasions after that. I reached out and I was like, how are you? I didn't know what to say. I was like, what do you say to someone who has just gone through this? But, when this happened, I was like, wow, I should have, reached out to you more, shown more support. Now that I found myself in the same situation, I felt that guilt. But at the same time, I know when I reached out, you were the one like, you were like, as if you had been waiting for me to say something. I remember all the letters, the internet, then I had touchlight phone. So where's the internet? You were the one sending information. Anybody coming to Calabar, Frankie will download and package and send. She will call. So I think that first year, having that support was what helped me to come to the decision to move on. Because I was like, somebody here is, doing all over the place. She's doing her own thing. Kind of that empowered me, that strengthened me. So, and then along the way, other form of support, like getting the catheters and things like some people, somehow people just came up, people, transportation, that people were helpful. So even when I made the decision to step out, there were many who were willing to help. So that really made it easier.
Okay. So Afyong has talked about the role of family and friends in her journey, a great support system. She talked about the power of asking, because we hear in her conversation, she asked for help. Because I think sometimes we assume that our family and friends should know what we need. But a lot of times we may need to vocalize what it is that we need, rather than assume that can they see, can they know, can they, because it will now lead to a lot of animosity and bad water between family. So vocalize what it is that you need from family and friends, because they are the closest ones to us. So there's a tendency for us to want to be like, can't you see what I need? Or can't you know? Don't you know I will need it? No. It's okay to ask for help where you need it. All right, Maureen, tell us a bit about how community played in your journey, and you can talk about the disability community, since that's the community that we're speaking to. Go ahead.
For me, I would say community in how do they help? The help I got from community was the fact that I had a lot of people that still cared. Community like church, community like people in my streets that understood that, oh, she can't walk again. Financially too, community has been of great help, and then to an extent, community again caused some of my pain, because and they say the family that has someone on a wheelchair, that family that had crippled. So it has its positive, it has its negative impact. But to a very large extent, community have been kind of helpful. Most of the things I need, they rally around to get some things. Like in the early days, my community was very helpful. They assisted financially for my the things I need. Yeah.
Awesome. So why we are focusing on community and family and friends is because you can get a lot of support that can aid you on your journey. So for anyone who's out there, Nigeria actually has Spinal Cord Injury Association, SCI, of Nigeria. And that's why I brought one of the executives, the Abuja chapter. There's a national network, and at state level, there are different networks. So it's a good place to get information and ask questions. So if at any point in the course of this program, you have spinal cord injury and you feeling like you're alone, the truth of the matter is that other disabilities usually do not understand spinal cord injury. as such. So you may need to be able to engage in that cluster so that you can ask your private questions, and you have people who are experiencing what you're experiencing, and they will be able to point you in the right direction. So one of the things I would like the ladies to do, and those who are with me on the program, is to just give a counsel or a message. Just give a message. What message would you give to a newly injured woman who feels that her future has ended? What is that short, brief, powerful message that you would want to give to her? Choma, go ahead, please.
You said brief. Oh my God, God help me. But for a newly injured, basically, I would want to say, all hope is not lost. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to, when you feel bitter, at some point, I was told I was possessed because I was reacting and behaving abnormal. They never knew I could be that angry to the point of wanting to kill myself. So, but when you feel that, bitter, just know that it's a phase, and be strong to overcome it. And then I want to please encourage, rather than going to native houses and all that, because we've had cases where they take some of our members because of ignorance, they take them to places for bone strengthening. And most times when they use all those hot water and all that, because you don't feel, you wouldn't even know, and then you develop bed sores and all that. So the hospital is the best place you should go to. And then physiotherapy is very important, some form of physiotherapy, because from there you will get to learn or know some things you need to know on how to be independent to a level. So basically, I would just say to a newly, to someone that has a SCI newly, just be strong, and don't stop your life there. Just keep that's your passion, what that you've been doing even before the accident, the fall, or whatever. Just keep doing it. Don't. It's not the end of the world. And step out. Look at the likes of Freaky. You see how beautiful she looks. Don't stop your life. Don't stop it. Don't stop. Just keep moving on.
Don't stop your life. Powerful.
Be clean, be sweet, be beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome. Don't stop your life. That's a very powerful one. And you also have no right to take your life, because the rate of suicide in spinal cord injury as a disability is quite high, because there's a lot of despondency. Because when it comes to spinal cord injury, just in case somebody who doesn't know, one of the things that happens is that it's not just the loss of the ability to walk, depending on level of injury or dexterity in your mobility. It can also be the loss of physiological function. So also depending on the level of injury, you have incontinence in urinary function, bladder function, bowel management is a big thing. Another thing that can happen is loss of sensation. So depending also on level of injury and type of injury, you could also have loss of sensation from level of injury down. So there's quite a lot of things that makes people really feel out of sorts when it comes to spinal cord injury, and that high level of exclusion that leads to depression, emotional trauma, psychosocial disability in addition, and sometimes suicidal tendencies. Don't give up on life. As long as you're still alive, there is still hope. Oh, Affion, please, what would you say to a newly injured woman who feels that her future has ended because of SCI?
You would have to be dead for you not to have a future. But as long as you are living, it might not be the life you had planned, but that's life. Life comes in different colors. What I will say to you is make that decision. Are you willing to go on? I used to tell myself, your body is the only thing that's broken. Sometimes it felt like my brain wanted to burst because there was so much going on in there. And I had to tell myself, look, if my brain is still working and trying to come up with, new things and trying to, moving forward, then I'll have to find a way to whip my body into shape and get it to follow my brain. I have a lot to offer. That was the motivation that led me to look for employment. I was tired of, I felt like, you feel like It's like having a brand name, item, like a handbag, and just hang it somewhere until it goes bad. You don't take it out, you don't take it anywhere. You're not, you buy a beautiful car, you park it. That's how I felt. I felt like a car that was parked. My engine was working, everything else was working, but I was not fulfilling purpose. I told myself, look, my mind is sound. Somehow, the body may be broken, but we'll find a way. So you have to come to that point to make that decision. You are still alive, and that means God has kept you for a reason. If you had nothing to offer, probably you would have passed on. There would be no need for you to still be here. But if you are still here, there's something you need. You have value to offer. So wake up, get up, dust yourself up. You will fall many times like a child learning to walk. You will fall, I promise you. But with each fall, you will get better at walking. In quotes. With each fall, you will get better. You will find better ways to do it. And that's how you will move on. So please, get up.
Yes.
Move.
Get up, wake up. You will fall, but you can rise again and again and again. I think what I would say to somebody who is newly injured is this. First of all, it has happened. This is what has happened. Okay. The world is at your fingertips for you to get information that can help you on your journey. And I don't think of the journey as a sprint where you will reach a finish line. It's only death that can be the end of this journey. Think of it like a marathon, a steady one. Like pace yourself. That's what I would say. Don't be in too much of a hurry but just pace yourself. Take it one day at a time. Take it one setback at a time. I told somebody that how many years later I'm still discovering things about spinal cord injury and my body that I did not know. I was not aware of because I don't know that other factors are now factoring in. But every day is like a discovery. So keep your mind really open about some of the things that you find out. I think I'll also say this because one of the most embarrassing aspects usually for newly injured persons is usually that issue of accidents. Maybe you've now managed to step out and all of a sudden, what is happening here? What is that funk and all that? My dear.
We have slayed with poop. We have slayed
because, when people start, I will never shit. Excuse me, haven't you? Hello. Who hasn't? What was happening here? Why is your nose so nosy? I better pack one side. So basically what I'm saying is this, is that you have to really build thick skin where if accidents happen, because I found out early that if you panic when you have an accident, you will likely embarrass yourself more because you'll not be able to compose yourself enough to handle business because business has to be handled. So you need to be able to kind of breathe, take it easy. What are my exits? What is my exit strategy? What is the plan? Because we're not there panicking. What will happen when you now panic? What is supposed to happen now? People come and help you to come and do what? Clean the thing and be waiting. So take a breather and ask yourself next, what is the exit? What is the plan? Do I clean up here or should I go home? Ask yourself. So you need to be able to be a good planner, that's the truth, and have a lot of exit strategies so that you can have an easy time when you step out. Things happen even with all that plan, but planning is a good thing to do. What you will not do is be too afraid to go out. Don't do that. Have days of outing. Me, I have outing days of ice cream, intentional waka, where I, like you can see, I went out today. Very intentional. Not because of anything, but because the world has not maybe graced my presence for a while. I'll be like, behold. So I'm just saying that life is one. Just try. And if you're a newly injured person, reach out to other persons with spinal cord injury. There's a lot of power in communing with and connecting with others who are survivors of spinal cord injury. It's been an amazing episode. Aisha Galadima.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I just came back from church. Choma, how are you? Freki, how are you? Afyong, how are you?
I'm fine. Nice.
Good. Welcome.
Nice hearing your voice, but not seeing you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, in one word, just counsel a young lady who is newly injured? Just keep it short and simple. Go ahead.
I will always say this: love yourself. Once you love yourself, no matter who criticizes you, no matter the embarrassment you face outside, no matter the way they look down on you, that love that you love yourself is a brace, is an armor, is how will I put it? My little niece will say it makes you booga. Love yourself. That's all I can say. When you love yourself, the judgment, everything falls on a dog's back. You know, there's this saying, say no matter how they begin ugly rich, or no matter the hunchback, a mama still love her. So no matter the disability, once you love yourself, whoever that judges you or criticizes you, it doesn't make any sense. You'll move on and strive on. That's all.
Awesome. For those who are listening, that is the voice of Reverend Dr. Aisha Galadima, the lead pastor of Christ the Lamb, who is a spinal cord injury survivor. So you can do anything. Awesome stuff. All right. So we've come to the end of this episode of Bold TV. And the focus of the conversation was in commemoration of Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month, a life well lived. The ladies in the episode of this, this episode of Bold TV are a testament that there is a full life after spinal cord injury, and there is a full life even with spinal cord injury. And we're hoping that we've been able to motivate someone who is listening to us that in spite of your spinal cord injury journey, there is validity in your existence. You are a valued member of society and you have a lot of value to bring. They've talked about their early days after injury, what it was like. They spoke to the truth of the emotions that they went through. They spoke about the strength that they found to be able to move forward. They even spoke to the daily practices and the routine that helps them stay resilient in the face of the journey that is the reality of spinal cord injury. We've spoken about the role of family, friends, and community. We intentionally did not want to talk about the Nigerian society, as it were, and the political systems and the health systems. That's a different conversation for another day. We also talked about a message for a newly injured woman who may feel that her future has ended. I encourage us out there, if you have spinal cord injury, connect. If you hear the stories of all these ladies, you will hear at a point in time that they were able to connect with another woman so that her experience will be something that they can learn from. I connected with Aisha in my early days of injury, and she has been a great source of strength. The ladies have shown that you cannot do this on your own. Don't be an island. So we're hoping that this episode really came to you in your house and inspired you, family members, friends, or persons who may have spinal cord injury. And this has been Bold TV. We come to you every Saturday by 10:30 a.m. on our YouTube and our Facebook page. So go there, subscribe, like, so that you can have access to this episode and all the past episodes. For those who want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us through our email, boldheartnetwork.info@gmail.com, or you can reach out to the co-hosts. If it's on SCI, myself and Afyo, we are here for you. All right, so until we come your way, same time, same station, same everything, next week, Saturday, have an amazing and a resilient week ahead of you. You are valued stronger than you are. Stay beautiful. Ladies, unmute your microphone and tell them bye-bye. Love you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you for having me.
This is Bold TV.